Hey guys, and welcome to my Doctor Who review for season 6. Okay, so basically, if I'm talking a little quieter today, my brother is visiting and he's sleeping right now, so I'll try to turn up the volume and hopefully you guys can all hear me and all that jazz. But I was supposed to film this before, he got here, but I ran out of time. There was kind of an emergency that happened this weekend. So it was this and Twin Peaks. I'm trying to find the times to watch it, and it's a little difficult. So yeah. Anyway, man. I need you guys this week. I needed you guys this week. It was funny because, I, not to talk about another show for a second, but, no spoilers, but there was a big episode of Game of Thrones, which leads almost always to lots of hate, lots of Doctor Who has always kind of been like my safe place. Where I could post a reaction and I feel like even if you guys don't agree with me, you're not vile about it. You know what I mean? I haven't gone into my YouTube comments for Game of Thrones yet. However, well, I don't know if I ever will, to be honest. However, I've been getting some tweets and messages that have been, not like I can't avoid it, even if I tried. And so I was like, oh, all right, well, I'll feel better once I post my Doctor Who reaction this week. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not posting a Doctor Who reaction this week. It's the review, which is still lovely. But yeah, I was a little upset about that. But so now we're going to talk about basically season 6. All right, so first I'm going to start talking about my overall opinion of the season. So, okay. My overall opinion is that I liked the season. However, I felt like there were some things about the season that I wasn't the biggest fan of. So, in general, as some of you who probably have been watching me since the beginning of me doing Doctor Who reactions, in general, I like Matt Smith and Matt Smith stories a bit better than any of the other doctors. I think it helps. If you like the Doctor a lot, then, it just makes the whole show more enjoyable. And I appreciated Chris. I appreciated David in certain regards, but they definitely weren't. I wasn't like head over heels, for them like the way I am with Matt. So in general, I think if I will enjoy these stories more than past seasons. I think season 5 is probably still my favorite, and then probably 4, and then this one. And I will go into a little bit of, maybe why this one wasn't as high. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that it didn't seem to flow as well as some of the past seasons have, in my opinion. I feel like there were a couple of episodes that were really throwing a lot at you, and then there was, and then like a standalone. And it seemed to be kind of the two extremes a lot of the time, very plot-oriented, very in-depth, I'll say confusing, but I don't really mean you didn't comprehend it, just a lot being thrown at you, like I said, or kind of a fairly simple storyline, and it was kind of the two extremes. And though I think there is probably maybe a couple that I think fell into the middle of that. For the most part, the season was kind of one or the other, and it was kind of a little jolting to go back and forth between the two. Now, that being said, I love the characters and I love the stories that were kind of being told. So it's not that I disliked it. I'm going through like the things that I didn't like about it first. And I think there were certain things that maybe weren't handled the best. So the two episodes that I believe are supposed to be, I don't know. Unfortunately, much like Game of Thrones, I am not reading a lot of my comments anymore since I got spoiled about episode 7 of this season. Sometimes I go in, but I have to have moderators remove stuff before I can actually go in and actually look at the comments. Yeah. Anyway, but I think that there are two episodes that I believe were probably supposed to be kind of bigger reactions and probably expected to be on my, maybe I'm wrong, but on my list of favorite episodes. And they just didn't hit the mark for me. And those two episodes are Let's Kill Hitler and The Wedding of River Song. This is not to do with the fact that, like I don't like River. I love River. River is one of my favorites. I don't like how those two particular episodes were handled. I feel like for Let's Kill Hitler, there was just something about it, and I do, it's hard to really pinpoint, but I felt like it was too much. I felt like Let's Kill Hitler could have been a really good two-parter, and maybe like, I definitely thought like the Almost People two-parter probably could have been kind of sunk into one part, and that story didn't need to be as long, whereas Let's Kill Hitler, I felt like focused on a lot of important things. We had the initial premise of killing Hitler, which that didn't entirely go very far. And then we had, the people, which was very important by the end of the show, the little people inside of the whole bodies. And, there was a lot of things that I felt like, oh, okay, maybe, it just seemed like it was a lot to put into, what was it, about 45 minutes or whatever, the timing was. So for me, that was kind of, I felt like it was a little too much, and I felt like they could have kind of taken their time a little bit with that particular story. And The Wedding of River Song, the reason why that, I loved it, there were some great moments. There were some wonderful, I'll say very crowd-pleasing moments, maybe. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that. I think Rory, like staying behind and then Amy coming in and saving him. I loved that. And I love, here's the thing, I love the chemistry between River and the Doctor. I said that in the first episode. I believe it was the first or the second episode, the ending of the second episode, that I just love the chemistry between the two, and I can't wait to see more. The thing is I don't really think we got to see a lot more. I kind of wish that there might have been, if we were going to end this season on The Wedding of River Song, that particular episode, there was no episode, maybe, I'm not a writer for Doctor Who, but like maybe that would have focused on Eleven and River, you know, and had them together. Um, and maybe kind of maybe like a side plot for Amy and Rory or something like that, but something that really establishes their chemistry together, their relationship together. Because I still feel like it's a slightly new. I feel like we haven't really delved into it too much, in my opinion. And then we have this final scene, which I think would have packed a much more emotional punch if we had that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if we had a little bit more between those two. Um, so in that sense, I think it was a little messy. But nonetheless, I did, you know, as a whole, those 2 episodes, I did like. It's not like I hated them, but if you're wondering why they aren't going to be in my top 5 that I'm going to get into, um, you know, that's that. So, character-wise, I love them all. I love Amy, I love Rory, I love River, and I love the Doctor. All 4 of them are stellar to me and all bring kind of a very different thing to the table. And I don't know who's my favorite. I kind of just like them all as a unit, but maybe Rory. I don't know though. I like them all, but there is something really, really lovely about Matt Smith's Doctor. So now I'm going to kind of go into things that I really enjoyed about the season, and obviously Matt Smith is probably very high. He's lovely. He is just absolutely lovely, and all of these episodes that are showcasing some very beautiful moments for him, I think he is just absolutely an amazing addition to the Doctors. If not, I think the best addition of the Doctors of New Who for me. Now, I haven't seen Peter Capaldi yet. I think it'll be hard. I'm not saying that I won't like Peter Capaldi, but I think it'll be hard to top Matt Smith. You know what I mean? Like, I think it'll be a tough one for me. I like the little, like, I liked this. I liked that we get kind of some sweet episodes with Matt Smith. There's something very lovely and charming about his Doctor and the way that he handles things in comparison to past Doctors, and the way that he has relationships with his companions. So we haven't seen, I know, you know, like a ton of companions. So we have Matt Smith has had Amy and Rory like this whole time, whereas David Tennant, I feel like it was more each season kind of had like a different story to tell, and they were very distinctive of one another. But I feel like more so with Amy and Rory, it's more of a kind of, it's all kind of joined together, though I think there was a very specific story of season 5. I think in general, with David Tennant, I think each companion that he had kind of taught him something new. And I'm not saying that that's not going to happen with Matt Smith. I'm just saying it hasn't, because, you know, Matt Smith has only had kind of just Amy and Rory. So I don't know where the ending of their story is going to go, what that arc is going to be. But I really hope they're okay. I hope they just want to settle down in a cottage somewhere, and that's how it's going to be. I do not want to lose either or both of them. So, in like a heartbreaking way. If we have to lose them for the show, I know that they don't remain the companions forever. Nobody really does. So if we have to lose Amy and Rory, I would like it to be peaceful and lovely. Yes. Yes. Kind of like how, like Martha went. I mean, well, maybe it wasn't as peaceful, But Martha went on kind of at the end of season 3 on good terms, right? I think she left on decent terms for a companion exit, right? So it was funny when I rewatch the whole season when I do these reviews. Some of the episodes I really watch again, and some of the episodes I kind of I skim through a little bit because I don't have all the time in the world. But I try to rewatch these, and I was trying to figure out the theme of the season. I like to kind of cling on to a certain theme. And I think my initial point saying that things are really sporadic, I didn't feel very strongly about a theme for this season. But I have one that kind of I felt like kept popping up. And weirdly, so it is the sense of family. And what I mean is the standalone episodes, a lot of the standalone episodes focused on father and son mostly, if I'm correct. So Night Terrors, we have father and son. The one with James Corden was father and son. And then Curse of the Black Spot, father and son. And even in the Almost People, the side plot of the father with the son, that was a running theme throughout. Children. Amy and Rory with River. You know, we're kind of seeing throughout the season, what I did notice was we're kind of seeing these people on this journey kind of realize that they're more of a family than maybe they ever did before. You know, with River, it was like a blood related thing. You know, there was the reveal, right? Then, you know, we have something, one of the sweetest stories I feel like ever is The Doctor's Wife, where we kind of, you know, see the TARDIS and the relationship between the two, and they kind of made a physical embodiment of that. And that was kind of really, really amazing to see. And I liked that, you know, that story, I believe, is very well appreciated by a lot of the fans, because I thought there's something so powerful about that story. I think The Doctor's Wife is kind of a story that really can warm your heart after you've seen a lot of Doctor Who. Does that make sense? So you kind of already know the importance of the TARDIS, the significance, and also the relationship that the Doctor already has with the TARDIS, you know. And I think, you know, that last of the Christmas special, that last bit with the Doctor, you know, coming to Amy and Rory's door, and they say, "We always have a place set for you." I mean, that's like really in your face saying, we're a family, all of us. It's not the Doctor and his companion. You know, it's everyone together. And so, though I don't know, I don't think that that's the theme in the sense of like, oh, they're really trying to accomplish writing something with this season, and the theme is family. But I did, when I was going back and rewatching, I saw a lot of kind of little bits about, you know, these kind of little hints that were really focusing on family in this particular season. I don't know if that's because we want to lead in to season 7. I don't know what's going to happen there. And I don't know if that's just because maybe those are the stories that, you know, Matt excels at. It was just something I noticed, and I wanted to bring it up. So yeah. All right. So I'm going to top off this review with talking about my 5 favorite episodes. That's what I do in every review. So it was funny. I had 6 episodes, so I'm going to give like an honorable mention to one of them. I had 6 episodes. It was really hard for me to narrow down. And so the number 6 or the honorable mention for this season was actually Closing Time. I know that a lot of you don't like the stories with James Corden. However, I think they're so sweet, and I think Matt Smith and James Corden together are like magic. I love them. I absolutely love them. It's a funny episode, which is a nice break sometimes, especially after, I think, 2 pretty heavy episodes with The Girl Who Waited and The God Complex. They were just, sometimes I feel like you just gotta have a fun one. And it's maybe not the most important episode, and I know that the resolution of it maybe not the best. However, I deeply love that story, and it's a fun story, and I like seeing James Corden with the little baby, and it was just a sweet, and that's a kind of another example. I mean, it's not that's another example of fathers and sons. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I think that there was just a lot in that I really liked about that. So honorable mention to that. Okay, so number 5 on the list, which, I was reading comments at this point, and everybody was like, you're gonna hate this episode. And that has happened to me, I think, at least once a season with Doctor Who. People say, like, you're gonna hate this. It's the worst episode, or not my favorite, or just doesn't stand out. And then I'm like, I loved it. And that is The Curse of the Black Spot. I loved it. Okay, here's the thing. I kind of really love pirates and pirate stories and things of that nature, so maybe I'm biased. I also really like Lord Grantham, so maybe I'm biased. However, I really enjoyed that episode. And maybe it is a serious, I've brought this up so many times on my channel, of overhype, underhype. Even if you're not spoiling something, or saying like exactly what happens, even if you say, oh my God, the next episode's my favorite episode, oh my God, it's the best. I go in expecting it to be amazing. If you say, this episode is the worst, I don't even know, you can skip it, so like whatever, I expect it to be horrible. And it kind of, if I really do love it, then that if you guys all underplayed it, I probably love it more. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but that kind of happens a lot, and it's kind of hard to avoid, so it is what it is. Curse of the Black Spot, for me, was a lovely story. I think the Rory death, or the Rory fake out, whatever that they tried to do at the end, was a little, we've been there and we've done that. However, I kind of liked the story. I liked that it ended with like the pirates on a spaceship, and they did return, which that was kind of cool in episode 7. I don't, I like squealed so much in that reaction, I feel like, when he showed up. But I would watch that spinoff. I really liked the story. I thought it was a good time. It was a fun episode. It was not an episode that I say, oh, well, that's the most brilliant episode of Doctor Who ever. But I gotta say, I really, really enjoyed watching that. Probably a lot more than some others of the season. So, yeah. All right. Sorry, I keep looking at my list over here of things. Okay, so the next favorite on the list, number 4, is Day of the Moon. It was kind of hard. I was debating the first part or the second part. You know, and the shining part of Day of the Moon, not just the ending being really, really crazy, was Canton. He was the best. I loved him, and I wanted him to join the TARDIS and be part of the team. I thought we were going to get like an actual like bigger group, which I tend to like a lot more. I like bigger casts, which was kind of one of the reasons why it was very difficult for me to get into Doctor Who in the first place. And that was just such a great two-parter. I love the concept of the kind of tallying on yourself or on the walls or whatever. I think that there's something kind of terrifying about that I really, really loved. Yeah, I mean, Day of the Moon was just wonderful to me, and it was a lot, but I think they resolved it really well. I think in the episodes, like I said about like Let's Kill Hitler and maybe The Wedding of River Song, where there's a lot going on, it's kind of nice to put them more as two-parter and pace them out a little bit. And I think that they did that very well with the premiere. I just happened to enjoy watching Day of the Moon a little bit more than the first part, so I went with that one as the number 4 spot. Okay, so number 3 on the list is The Doctor's Wife. Like I said, I touched on this. It was kind of a beautiful story of just old friends or old family or old whatever you want to call them. You know, it's not defined. It's kind of a new relationship. And new in the sense of like, it's not like a defined of like brother and sister or mother, you know, son or whatever. And at first I was a little like taken aback, and a lot of people, this was one of those episodes where a lot of people hyped up, and I was like, oh, okay, she's really like, you know, she's really nuts, this girl. And I didn't know if I was actually going to connect with her as much as I did at the end, but oh my God, that episode was done so beautifully. I think, and Amy and Rory's side plot was like terrifying. It was crazy. I didn't like, you know, on one hand we have this beautiful sweet story, and then we have Amy and Rory in their house of horrors, which was like, I liked that we kind of got a dose of both of those things. But when she says, you know, hello, it is just so beautiful. I mean, the moment that she gets to finally say hello to the Doctor just absolutely floored me. I mean, it just is so beautiful. They've been together, you know, longer than any of the companions, longer than, you know, there's something about being together over all of that time and all of the, you know, incarnations of the Doctor. It was just beautiful, and it made me very, very happy to watch that. And yeah, so number 2 on the list is A Good Man Goes to War. I can't tell you, so I'm gonna just sort of say this. The episode, well, first, the episode was amazing. Everything, I mean, talk about a crowd-pleasing episode. I mean, we have the reveal, we have the heartbreaking of Amy with the baby in her arms, and we have just a lot of, you know, other species that we've seen. Everybody's kind of coming together and fighting and like for the Doctor, or maybe against the Doctor, but it just was such a great crowd-pleasing moment. I'm sorry if you hear that outside. But what I wanted to say is I wanted to actually, in this video, I wanted to thank you guys for kind of respecting my wishes with um, the comments and not letting it be super vile in the comment section. I kind of wanted it to be very, because of that I got spoiled on who River is. I wanted everybody to kind of, you know, chill out a little bit. And though it does suck that I was spoiled, I felt like you guys still very much embraced the reaction. And it's not like I felt like anything was missing from that. You guys are beyond, beyond lovely to me. And, you know, when I have some other show, I mean, there are other shows that the fandom's very lovely to me as well. There are some shows that it can be a little difficult at times. And, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for being the loveliest of people. So, when it comes to that, and it really meant a lot to me. I'm going to not get emotional. Well, I am going to get emotional because number one on the list is The Girl Who Waited. It's possible The Girl Who Waited could top my favorite episode of all time. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to confirm or deny that right now, but it's, you know, sometimes things hit home for you. And I don't entirely really want to go into it too much because I really don't feel like crying. You guys can go back and see that reaction and watch me just cry my eyes out. I felt very connected to that story. And as someone who spends a lot of their time waiting, or all of their time waiting, there was something about that that just really triggered it. And the fact that Amy changed. Oh, Jesus Christ, here we go, right? Amy, after all of that time, was not the most carefree or pleasant person, because sitting around and spending your life waiting kind of changes someone. Maybe sometimes for the better, sometimes for the, you know, I'm not really talking about better or worse, but it changes someone. You know, and that's a long time for her to be waiting. And I think I just really identified with that in my own personal life. And the fact that she changed and she still got left behind, that really fucked me up. See, it fucks me up. Sorry, it hits home, like, really bad. But the story was lovely, and I liked that at the end she said, you know, if you love me, don't let me in, and, you know, that she knew that she was doing the right thing. But it's still such a tragic thing to see, and that moment between Rory and her with the door, just, you know, it kills me. And it kills me to see even, you know, 11 kind of see kind of what happened to her. It was a very emotional story. It was a very brilliant story, and it just meant, I think it meant a lot. And it was one of the most amazing, yeah, it was one of the most amazing stories I think I've ever seen, even though it was very hard for me to watch. And it's my favorite of this season by far. I left that episode feeling just so, I don't know, I can't even put it into words, but it's, you know, when you relate to it on a personal level. And I think that's happened for a lot of people with Doctor Who. I mean, there's been a ton of times where you know, I've talked to people and they say, you know, like, this is my favorite episode because, you know, I just relate to this character, and we all relate to someone different. The beauty of Doctor Who is you will eventually get a companion or a doctor or whatever that you relate to a lot. And that story just did it for me, I think. And it was tough to watch, just given kind of what my life is kind of like on a day-to-day basis. And, you know, it wasn't as extreme as hers. You know, I'm not battling like hand robots or whatever you call them. But anyway, so yeah, in general, in conclusion, I did actually really love this season. I hope that it still remains to be amazing for season 7. And I'm very excited. We didn't lose Matt Smith, guys. We made it. All right, let's all be excited. A round of applause for everyone. We didn't lose. Well, if you don't like Matt Smith, it's probably not so great for you. But for me, it's wonderful. We didn't lose him. He is still the Doctor, and I'm excited. So, you know, I'm just gonna be thankful every episode that Matt Smith is the Doctor, and I'll be happy. But you know, I'm messing, but still. Yeah, I hope that you guys really enjoyed watching this season with me. I know that it took a while to get through. I had to take some breaks. So now I'm just going to, if you just came here for the review, please click off the video. It's fine, I don't, whatever. So for, if you're interested, if you're not, please click off the video. But if you are interested, this season, this next season, for Doctor Who episodes 1 through 14, I know that there's a Christmas special in the middle, there will be, I believe there's going to be 6 full reactions on Patreon if you care. So the link is in the description of this video if you want to get access to those full reactions. People are still voting. I think most of them are decided. I think there's a couple that they're deciding between, but that you'll be able to see full reactions to that on Patreon, to those 6 episodes. But yeah, I don't want to say which ones in case that, you know, it changes with the voting. But yeah, so those are, will be up there. The other thing, I'm going to say this now because I've kind of looked, you know, I'm doing 1 episode a week, and I think it leads all the way up to Thanksgiving for me. Of like the last episode and or review is kind of on Thanksgiving week. I'm just going to say this here. People will complain or whatever, but in December, give me a little leeway when it comes to the I know that there are like certain special, whatever you want to call them, after the season. They will be up, you know, in the month of December when it, you know, that time, but it may not be like right away because I am probably going to go see family for the holidays, and I don't know, you know, I don't really get to see family. You know, my brother's visiting right now, and that's rare. So I think I'll probably take a week off then. I don't want everybody to freak out then, so I'm going to preemptively say it now, or so, you know, I probably might be a little sporadic, but you'll get them, okay? Just so you guys know, all right? But yeah, I hope that's okay. But I mean, for my own sanity, you know. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!